CrossFit Games are done for another year. We crowned two new champions in Laura Horvath and Jeffrey Adler in what was a super exciting weekend across the board in both divisions. Today, going to take a look at 5 takeaways from the women's fields that I feel are worth highlighting. First up, Laura Horvath deserves to go down as one of the greatest women athletes of all time. So for all of her career up to this year, she's really lived in Tia Toomey's shadow. Tia, the greatest athlete to hit the competition floor, dominated the field for 6 years, steps away this year, giving Laura Horvath the opportunity to step up and claim her title. Taking a look at some of Laura Horvath's recent performances at the Games, 2021, she had a 2nd place, 2022, a 3rd place, and this year, fittest woman on earth. So having 3 straight podiums is a huge accomplishment for her. She also had the Rogue win in the fall, so I think this really cements her to be in that conversation for one of the best of all time. Not in the range of Toomey yet, but probably deserves to be in the conversation with Annie and Katrin by the time her career is all wrapped up. When we look at this competition, so she had 5 event wins over the course of the weekend out of 12 tests. So really impressive performances for her there. Was absolutely unstoppable on Sunday for the 2nd year in a row. So she had 2 firsts and a 4th this year. Last year, she also had 2 firsts and a 4th, vaulting her up to a podium finish last year. And really, over the course of the last 2 seasons, has given up a total of 27 points out of a possible 600s on Sunday. So when it comes to closing, finishing strong on the podium, nobody compares to Laura Horvath over the last couple of years. The one blemish this year, you had the inverted medley where she finished 27th, which again, for all the bad press that she gets about handstand push-ups and how terrible they are for her to finish in 27th, really quite respectable. And then when you dive into the standings itself, Horvath was one of 8 athletes to finish with cap +5. So obviously the tiebreaker pushed her down to the bottom, but again, there's 8 women there from 20th to 27th, all completed the same length of the field there. So putting it into perspective, a few seconds faster, definitely could have popped it up a few more spots, but again, she didn't need it. Really impressive for Horvath. Really happy that she was able to take that title. And again, when we talk careers, when she's done in 5, 6, 7 years, whenever she decides to hang it up, Horvath is on trajectory to be considered one of the best to ever hit the floor in the CrossFit Games. Second takeaway on the women's side was just how consistent some of the top women were. So we're looking at the top 5 athletes. 3 of them didn't have a finish outside the top 20 over the course of the entire weekend. So you had Emma Lawson, who finished 2nd overall. She didn't have a finish worse than 15th over the course of the entire weekend, which was the pig chipper. 3rd place finisher Ariel Lowen had a worse place finish in ski bag of 17th. And then you had 5th place finisher Alex Gazan. She had 3 19th place finishes over the weekend. And interesting enough, they're actually all the specialist events. So she had a 19th in the inverted medley, she had a 19th in the 5K, and she had a 19th in the Olympic total. So interesting to see for her, clearly a generalist, where all the specialist events were the worst for her over the course of the weekend. Takeaway number 3 is that it was comeback season at the CrossFit Games this year. So looking at the women's field, you had Katrin Davidsdottir, who missed the Games last year, comes back with a 7th place finish, which was great to see for her. She's in her 3rd training program in 3 years. So to see her back with another top 10 finish, awesome for her. You had Emma Carey finishing 8th, who came back from a back injury, which kind of plagued her all of last year. So her in her sophomore year breaking into the top 10. You had Emma Tall coming back from a shoulder injury that pushed her out of semifinals last year. She finishes with a career best 11th. You had Emily Rolfe coming back from that event 1 last year, where she needed the emergency surgery. So where she was able to be able to rehab, earn a career best finish of 12th at the CrossFit Games. You had Bethany Flores, who missed last season because of a back injury as well. She finishes 15th. Then you got Jamie Simmons, who missed better part of the last 2 years rehabbing from a shoulder injury. So to see her come back, she withdrew on the last day just to prevent any further tweaks to her elbow, and still manages a 17th place finish. So you have these 6 women all coming back from injuries or just disappointments last year, and all finishing in the top 20, and 3 of them with career best finishes at the CrossFit Games. Really impressive to see that level of comeback and dedication that was done on their parts in order to make it back to that level at the CrossFit Games. Takeaway number 4 this year is the 17-year-olds continue to crush it at the CrossFit Games. So 2023, Olivia Kerstetter comes in, finishes 16th place overall, wins Rookie of the Year, has an event win. Last year, 2022, you had Emma Lawson coming through as a 17-year-old, finishes 6th overall, wears the white jersey for a portion of it, wins Rookie of the Year. 2021, you had Mal O'Brien, finishes 7th, has an event win, wins Rookie of the Year. And also in 2021, you had Emma Carey, who finished 16th place in a really respectable games for her. So just these 17-year-old women, they keep coming in and they keep absolutely crushing it in a field of professionals. So really excited to see that trend continue. Maybe Lucy McGonigal keeps it rolling next year, but great to see. And then when you look at these women and when you play it forward, so you had Mal O'Brien as a 17-year-old, finishes 7th. She goes on, finishes 2nd place as an 18-year-old. Emma Lawson finishes 6th as a 17-year-old, comes in, finishes 2nd overall as an 18-year-old. So just continue to changing the face of the sport, and we'll see what continues to happen with the teenagers at the CrossFit Games. And then the last takeaway from the women's fields this year is just the tides are turning in terms of the landscape of the competitive field. So when you look at the top 10 athletes this year, 5 of them were in their 2nd year of the CrossFit Games. So you had Emma Lawson, Emma Carey, Alex Gazan, Alexis Raptis, Paige Powers, all in their 2nd year of competition. Ariel Lowen, she's in her 3rd. You had Gabrielle Mugala and Daniel Brandon, they're in their 5th. Laura Horvath's in their 6th year at the CrossFit Games, and Katrin up there at 10 years. So when 60% of the top 10 are in their 3rd year or less at the CrossFit Games, it just continues to show where the direction of the sport is going. And it's great to see the kind of the youth movement coming up into the ranks and finishing so strong. And then just particularly those 5 athletes in their 2nd year of competition, they have an average age of 20.4. So we can probably get used to seeing their names up in the top 10 for a long time to come. And it's really going to be interesting to see just this group or this cohort of athletes continually to battle it out for the foreseeable future. With that, thanks again for listening. Really appreciate it. If you've made it this far, please hit subscribe. It's just an easy way to help us out. Also make sure you don't miss anything that we send out there. Give us a follow on Instagram just for some of the bite-sized stats related to the CrossFit Games season at Fran Lung Analytics. And if you want to support us just a little bit further, check out our merch at franlungsocialclub.com.